Hello, this is Pavel, and this is today's brief. I build technology for service companies, and I use this channel to help business people understand the technology changes and how what some claim it is a revolution, it's completely changing the how business is going to be using technology is just evolution. It's a next step from the what we've been doing for decades of turning service company and technology company. And although the speed of changes is increasing, it's still just the next step. All right. The other day, I was promising to explain what I mean by convenience bias. When business needs a technology, needs a system to build, and they talk to technical people, let's say, this is what I've been doing as a technology leader. They have the idea in mind that is essentially a need of the company. The company need a system, company need a technology. It is most likely the visibility of data, is streamlining the workflow, ease of reporting, compliance. And when the idea is discussed, the communication with the technology is pushed way down to the business departments, to the people on the floor. And this is where the conflict starts. And nobody talks about this conflict. The conflict is the further those people from the top of the company, the more they are driven by their own understanding of what technology needs to do. And unless the very strict measures, very strict outcome is defined at the very beginning of the project, it is start drifting into being a convenience. Unless, once again, unless the strict requirements placed on the expected outcome, any project moves into the convenience project. There's nothing wrong with the convenience. People need to have a better chair. People need to have a more comfortable offices to work, better lighting. All of this is a convenience. And the convenience contributes to the output, although indirectly. So same thing happened with building technology. Over time, the result, the technology, or what we call system, start reflecting those who loudest. They push their view, they push their understanding, they push their own convenience forward. It has somewhat correlation with what company needs, but the primary idea, the primary objective is convenience of the person or department that pushes requirements. And it is not a hypocrisy. This is psychology. People attribute their own convenience as the expected results of the project. And this is the moment when someone responsible for technology needs to go back, needs to shift the direction back to the original expected outcome. This is exactly how any project gets bloated 10x on a way, because it starts turning the expected results complementing with the lot of convenience. And it's hard because it's hard to push back, because up until now, it is a general idea, general concept that technology is a serving unit for the business. We all witness that the only companies that are progressing, moving fast, that is service company that are becoming technology companies. They manage as a technology companies, they grow and they scale as a technology companies. But yet if you go to any standard framework, if you go to any standard methodology, like Isaka, TOGAF, technology always aligns with the business needs. So in a general concept, it is exactly means that the company has a vision and technology solves this vision. But on a way, business needs replaced by the convenience needs, and the technology start wasting the effort, building someone else's convenience, which is not directly correlated to the company output. All right, now let's get to the news. The massive study across 22,000 USA-based companies found that the company that overspend or leading in the spending on AI, also leading in hiring. So it's about 12% above the average company, they hire more. That is contradicts the idea that the AI is primarily means to replace people. Some people still pushing this idea, although those voices are not as loud as they used to be. But I think it makes sense, completely makes sense. And especially if you put it in together with another very hot topic is the AI governance, where the businesses are struggling with put some kind of restriction on AI and have logs, have permissions, have controls over the AI. If you put them together, I always thought that the problem is overcomplicated because AI introduced as a separate entity in the process. So there was boss, there was me who is working. Now we introduce a machine who is the colleague. And the complexity of this step is tremendous. So starting with the identity, permissions, logs, responsibility, accountability, who monitors. If we equip Examiner with AI and focus on increase the productivity, let's say twice, by fivefold, all of a sudden, so we don't need all of this because accountability and responsibility still stays with that person. I personally believe this is where it goes. I think this is all overcomplicated, and the bringing machine to the level of accountability on the company level, the complexity of this solution is so high that it's not a question what is a good idea or bad idea. It's much easier to keep responsibility with people and then equip them with technology and look into increase their productivity rather than replacing them one-to-one, human with machine. And let's discuss one more. Someone pretty reputable uses example of creating multi-agent system, creating company with the different roles. So that was a fascinating topic 2 years ago of giving identity to different agents, and some people still pushing this idea. And I believe that a few years from now, we're going to be smiling. Remember that we were giving prompt to the same machine, to the same LLM. I understand if it would be different models. Right, that at least that makes sense. But given to the same model instructions to pose as a one person or as another person and let them debate, it is more of the limitation of current approach. Because yes, we need to provide bigger context. When you say, sketch me an application, it is important to say that extend this request. And currently we supplement it with the what we call identity. Act like a graphic designer or act as a application developer. But essentially, when we go into the mimicking multi-people environment that are debating and say, you are now acting like a CEO and you now acting as the shareholder and let's debate. It is just workaround. It is not the way to build a company. You cannot query the same LLM over and over again, asking them to act like different people and expect result of multiple people brainstorming this problem. All right, that's all for today, and I'll talk to you soon.